All right, it is September 12th, 2023. Monday, yesterday, I did two segments. One of them was the PragerU and PragerU kids and how stupid it was. The second one was commemorating those of 9/11 and how it should always be remembered. Now, before that, I had done a segment on the migrants and the so-called border crisis and all this stuff and how it should be handled and all this good stuff. And last night I came across a prime example of it. Okay, over in Massachusetts, Cape Cod, the government got a chance to house migrants that were being bussed over to New York to be housed in Cape Cod, a resort where the resort had people staying there at $300 per week. $300 per week or $300 per day. I don't really remember what the cost is. I'm going to say a week because that just makes more sense. Okay, the resort hotel and all this good stuff. And it's known for one of these resorts that has retirees that stay there. Okay, because it's cheaper. They don't have to worry about land tax. A lot of stuff is paid for. A lot of amenities are provided and all this good stuff. And it just makes sense, you know. Here's the thing. They pay $300 a week. And the government was housing migrants for $700 a week, you know, per room. And so the landowner said yes to the deal, and then evicted everybody that was already living there, the 300 per week people. Okay, now that's just plain wrong. And in the eyes of a lot of business owners, that's just plain business. And I get that, because that's what we're all taught to believe. I don't like it any more than any of y'all do. But guess what? It's legal. It's perfectly legit. Here's the whacked out thing about it, and one of the reasons why I'm talking about it. Okay, the whacked out thing about this is that there's protesters there, and they happen to be angry at Biden for some reason, or Harris. Okay, they're mad at the migrants that are placed there. They're mad at everybody except the landowner that saw $700 extra per room, you know, instead of the usual $300, where retirees have resided there and all this good stuff. And according to some of the protesters, there's even homeless vets. There's now vets that have got evicted and they're now homeless. And again, these people are angry at, the protesters are angry at the migrants for this. It's like, to me, it's like, what? You know, how do you explain that? I can explain it because this is common sense on common ground thinking. It's just plain greed. It's not just plain business. It's just plain greed. Politics is the tool. Okay? It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Okay? I keep saying this and saying this and saying this time and time again. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. And I got a bone to pick with these people. Because if memory serves, Massachusetts doesn't have a Republican governor that's messing up the migrant deals. Okay? We had our stuff so well organized down here in Texas that my worthless douchebag of a governor had made these false accusations of, child rape and all this stuff, even though that technically the children were being interviewed, okay? The children were being interviewed and they were testifying that they were being treated right. They were testifying that they were being treated well and that nothing bad was happening to them. Okay? But Greg Abbott comes out, wild accusations of trafficking, wild accusations of child rape, wild accusations of drug trafficking and weapons trafficking and all this other shit and stuff. Okay? Here's the deal. And then all that stuff gets ruined. Kids get removed. They get sent back to a holding facility along the border where it's already overcrowded. And then Abbott starts the busing migrants, okay? He buses them here, he buses them there, and he says, "You're welcome," okay? This son of a gun is doing so much crap, and then he makes the accusation, well, Biden's not doing his job. Biden can't do his job. Alejandro Mayorkas can't do his job. Vice President Harris can't do her job. Okay? There's too much interference. Massachusetts doesn't have any of that garbage. And this is how they fouled it up. By permitting a business owner to ruin it for the residents that he already has in his resort. And he says, hey, this is business. Okay? And for some stupid reason, I ought to become governor of Massachusetts, If people are so stupid that they literally believe that this is all Biden's fault, It's so stupid. They don't have any kind of interference. And yet this is how they muck it up. Okay? Shame on you, Massachusetts. Shame on you, New York. Shame on you, Illinois. For all the garbage that you're doing, or should I say, for all the stuff that you're just not doing. Okay? You are not taking total advantage of the jobs that it takes to hiring people to facilitate migrants, and the jobs that it takes to train and process and vet migrants, and then making jobs for them once they become citizens, and profiting off of every single steps that takes. It's a slow process, I get it, but it's still progressive. It's still progression. Okay, and you guys, you cities, you're not taking advantage of that. You need to take advantage of that. Oops, give me. Looks like my exit is done, so I gotta take it the long way home. Or should I say back to the headquarters? And so, and another thing, okay, here's what really ticks me off also. They're like, we've got a homeless vet here. Biden is causing homeless vets. Okay, hold on a second. Hold up right there. That's the most idiotic accusation out of all the accusations. This is San Antonio, where I'm filming in. Okay, my hometown. It's the redheaded stepchild of all the cities in Texas. How do I say that? Well, we've got big major corporations planting themselves down here, and they're paying all of us a bunch of bullshit pay. And I'm sorry for not. I'm not going to make an apology for not saying bullshit, because it's true. We've got so many jobs that have been given out here, and all this stuff, such a low unemployment rate, and yet this entire city is still under under the cost of living. We can't make the cost of living. We still need 2 jobs for both spouses. You know, both spouses still need 2 jobs just to maintain a living, the roof that they share over their heads. I mean, it is the most idiotic, horrible way to be under the boot of the man, in this particular case, the corporations. But nevertheless, this is what we got. And even we house our vets. Okay? That's Cape Cod. That's Cape Cod. They've got a bunch of rich people over there. Their estates are a hell of a lot higher. You know, they've got a lot of crap going their way. You know, they're all driving up in their gas-guzzling Ford F-350s and their Mercedes-Benzes and their Lexuses and all this other crap, their Volvo SUVs, and to rally outside of the resort to say, you know, Biden is to blame. It's like, what? It's idiotic, man. It's just downright idiotic. So my question is, what are you doing letting your veterans wind up homeless? You know? And to top it all off, they're saying that it's a vet, just one. I guess one is all that they need down there. You know, the token homeless vet is all that they really need down there. Up there, I should say, because this is down here. It's here in San Antonio. It's down there because we're in the south. But yeah, I mean, dude, we've got tons of problems down here, but we at least house our vets. I mean, come on. What the hell are you doing letting a homeless? What the hell are you doing letting a veteran homeless wind up homeless there? You know, you're supposed to be all American, all patriotic, and they're all wearing all these, you know, red, white, and blue crap like they barfed the flag on themselves, and they're not taking care of their veterans. Well, man, you shouldn't be sporting a flag if you're going to be letting your veterans, you know, homeless there. Cape Cod, freaking Cape Cod. The bottom line, I'm sorry for munching on the ice. It just helps keep me cool. The bottom line is that they're still doing it wrong. They're not making good use of what they're supposed to be doing. And they still have their own selves to blame because they're letting the resort guy kick out people, other renters, for government money that provides, you know, just over double the usual rates per room. Okay, they're still doing it wrong. They're letting somebody's, like, they're housing migrants, but they're letting it be done by way of somebody's greed as opposed to somebody's patriotic effort. Okay, as opposed to a citizen's civil duty. That's how they're mucking it up. Okay, that's what they're doing wrong. You know, you gotta call my Mayor Nuremberg, who's probably going to tell you the same process. Again, it's just that my mayor, San Antonio Mayor Nuremberg, I really wish this wasn't his year of retirement. I really wish he would retire another 5-10 years from now. But my Mayor Nuremberg, you know, he'll probably say follow these steps, which is the exact steps to take. But my guy, he double checked everything, you know. He crossed his T's and dotted his lowercase J's. You know, he did what he was supposed to do as a responsible mayor to landowners, and make sure that the responsible landowners, you know, whether it be a resort or a hotel or somebody that leases a warehouse, you know, he checked with them to make sure that nobody was being double-crossed. Nobody was being victimized by way of eviction. Okay? Everybody was taken care of. And that's the problem that's going on in Massachusetts right now. They got the right idea. but they're victimizing citizens in the process, and that's wrong. To top it all off, you know, it's the landowner is completely getting away with it because everybody that's upset about this is looking at Biden for some stupid reason. Is looking at Kamala Harris for some stupid reason. You know, they don't own the land. They don't own that resort. Ergo, they're not making the choice to behave to behave with this kind of corporate greed or whatever greed that it's probably. It's hard for me to stick with the politically correct descriptions while I got my eyes on the road. I'm wearing my sunglasses, but you know, I still got my eyes on the road. Sorry about that. You know, the government is not responsible for the bullcrap that the landowner did. Plain and simple. If you really want to be this passionate about this kind of migrant situation in your neighborhood, well then, first make sure you know what you're complaining about. Don't just get into the hype and saying, "Oh, this is all so-and-so's fault" and all this stuff. No, it's the landowner's fault. It's the business owner's fault. The business owner is the one that did it wrong. And especially if those of you out there who are business owners, you should be frowning big time at this. Instead of saying, "Hey, it's just business." No, dude. It's wrong business. It's bad business. It's bullcrap business. You know what I'm saying? It's improper business. And that shouldn't have to be a law. But if you got to, then go make a petition and talk with your lawmakers. For crying out loud, man. How is this such a stretch? How is comprehending this, how is connecting the dots such a stretch for you haters? Or is it that the key word? Hater. Is that the key word? Hate? Is that the sole reason why that you're actually doing this? You don't give a damn. You don't give a damn that the corporation, that the landowner is bowing down to greed. You know? In fact, I'm willing to bet that you're actually in favor of the greed, all you haters out there. I think you just want people to hate. Now that's an accusation, one that I can't technically prove despite the fact that the shoes are fitting. But beside that, all that aside, you're doing it wrong. The process of housing migrants is being done wrong. You need to follow what San Antonio did. You need to jot a few notes. You need to just review everything and make sure and double check your work, for crying out loud. You know? Make sure that it's not going to some douchebag that's making our vets homeless. I mean, come on, people. There's an entirely different budgeted account in housing people. It does not fall in the same budget as the not FFA, the HUD. Okay, it doesn't fall into the same budget as HUD. That's an entirely different budget. So when you're out there bitching about, complaining about, you know, we've got all this homeless over here. Well, what are you doing not using HUD to house the homeless? You dumbass. You got no excuse to be bitching about the migrants. You've got every excuse to be bitching about the landowners that are bowing down and catering to the greed. Okay? We've got homeless vets. Well, what are you doing keeping your vets homeless, dude? What in the hell are you doing? What the hell am I doing? I turned on the wrong damn street. Hey, I got my eyes on the road to keep from crashing. But again, and what I'm saying is very reasonable. You know, what exactly are you doing keeping your vets homeless. If a veteran wound up homeless and the whole town knew it, why didn't you just start a collection while he fills out an application for a house through the Housing and Urban Development Department agency, whatever it's called? You know? Nobody said that you had to keep them, leave them homeless, you know? And if there's families in that area, in that resort that wound up there, you know, because of hard times and all this good stuff, you know, well, why aren't you taking up a collection for them also? In fact, why aren't you suing the resort owner that evicted them to begin with? Because it's just business? You know, I'm hearing that way too much as an excuse to this stuff. And it's about as pointless as joining some hate group that's saying the president's not doing his job. We need to get rid of big government. Big government is not responsible for those homeless people. The landowner that evicted them is. That's a choice the landowner did not have to make. That's a choice that the landowner made. And it's wrong. That's who you should be petitioning to have to face justice. You guys, you're doing it wrong. You guys, you're doing it wrong. And again, you don't have a governor. A lot of you are like, well, why did you have them? I could if I would. But down here, we got a damn governor that'll arrest you for that. He'll claim that you're child raping. He'll make the claim, if you was to move down here to Texas, not just San Antonio, anywhere in Texas, and you was to do your part in housing migrants, you could be accused of child trafficking. And there wouldn't even need to be proof provided for it, because that's how my Texas governor wrote the laws. You understand? You'd be in that much trouble, and that's how much trouble we got here in Texas, in San Antonio, all over Texas. Okay? You don't want to get crossed like that. You don't want swords crossing like that. You don't want to cross your swords with somebody with that much kind of power. Okay? So we got no choice but to sit down and lay low and be cool. Okay? Keep cool. Whether we like it or not. You understand? You don't have those obstacles in your state, Massachusetts. You don't have those obstacles in your state, New York. You don't have those obstacles in your state, in Illinois. You understand? All you got is just a bunch of bitchy people rallying around, calling names and all this other shit. All this other crap. You understand? You're doing your migrant processing wrong. Get organized, people. Get organized. Watch who you're making deals with. Sue, arrest, take the deal back. If you got a guy that's doing this kind of harm to American citizens, take the deal back. The migrants aren't going anywhere. They're going back to the holding facility or the streets of New York. You know, put them back on the streets of New York if you have to. Find a place somewhere else. You don't have these obstacles. You don't have governors accusing anybody that tries to help of foreign terrorism, for Christ's sake. That's what my worthless governor does. And oh, by the way, All of you that are saying, we don't want migrants here. This is all Biden's fault. No, it's Abbott's fault. It's DeSantis' fault. It's Ducey fault, the governor of Arizona. It's Dookie fault, okay? I don't know the correct way to announce his last name. Dookie, Ducey, some shit like that. You know, but out of all the damn people you want to focus your anger on, you want to do it on Kamala Harris. What the hell's the matter with you people? You weirdos. You got people like me that are broadcasting it. No, this is what my governor's doing. And still, go back to Africa. What the fuck? You people are fucking nuts. There's something wrong with you people. All right. I've said enough. I'm done. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. Stay true out there. Keep on keeping on. Somewhere down the line, this has got to smoothen out. This mess that you guys are doing. You know, you gotta stop making a big mess of things. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult, but you're making it difficult. And you have no excuse for it, especially if you're not a state here in Texas. If you're not in a state like Texas, if you're not in a state like Florida, if you're not in a state like Arizona, you know, you got no excuse for your mess. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. All right. Y'all take care. This is Chris. Chris's Comments signing out. I don't mean to come out so strong, but it had to be said. It has to be said. Take care. This is Chris with Chris's Comments signing out.